Berdoa selesai. Baik, hari ini akan ada dua kelompok ya yang presentasi, kelompok 12 dan 13. Kayak materinya tentang eh, probability and statistics. Mudah-mudahan cukup ya sampai nanti jam 9.50 gitu ya, karena apa namanya, saya jam 10-nya ada jadwal mengajar yang lain. Langsung saja mungkin dari kelompok 12 ya, berarti kelompok 12 terlebih dahulu yang akan presentasi, dipersilahkan.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I have to say sorry because I have a network problem, and which is my cam is cannot to turn on now. So we are from group 12 will be presentation about probability. Can next. Okay, the group 12 is consists with first is Sakina Alifa Maulani, then Umi Aja, and the last is I am Muhammad Raska Izi as a moderator. Okay, can next topic. Okay, the group 12 is will be presentation about definition probability, simple space, addition rule, multiplication rules, complement, permutation, combination, and the last is quiz. Okay, the next. Okay, we are now at the definition of probability, which presented by Umiyah Azah. Umiyah Azah, time is yours.
Thank you to the moderator. Here I will present about probability. First of all, let's understand what is the probability. Probability is how likely something will happen. The probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1. The greater the probability, the more likely an event is to occur. The probability formula: probability of A equals N of A divided by N of A's. With the notation, P of A is the probability of event A. N of A is the number of favorable outcomes. N of S is the total number of outcomes. The example is a standard six-sided dice is rolled once. What is the probability of getting an odd number? The solution is the possible outcomes on a dice are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total outcomes equals 6. While the odd numbers on a dice are 1, 3, 5. So favorable outcomes equals 3. The formula: probability of odd number equals number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. So probability of odd numbers equals 3 over 6. This simplifies to 1/2. The present is sample space. Sample space is the collection or set of all possible outcomes that may appear or occur in a statistical experiment is called the sample space, symbolized by the set S, while its members are called sample points. The example is sample space or S is set, number, and picture. And the sample point equals number and picture. The present is addition rules. The probability addition rules is a method used when two or more events occur simultaneously. The point A, when two events are mutually exclusive, event A and event B are said to be mutually exclusive if event A and event B cannot occur at the same time or do not overlap. The formula probability of A union B equals probability of A equals the sum is probability of A added by probability of B. This is the diagram. The point B, when two events are not mutually exclusive, event A and event B are called non-mutually exclusive events if event A and event B can occur at the same time or intersection. The formula probability of A union B equals probability of A intersection B subtracted by the sum of probability of A added by probability of B. This is the diagram. The example, there are two dice, blue and red. The two dice are then thrown simultaneously once. Find the probability that the side of the dice that has a sum of 6 or 11. The solution is we can write the number of dice is 6 with the notation A, which means A is equals 1, 5, 1, 5, 2, 4, 3, 3, 4, 2, 5, 1. So the n of A equals 5. We can write the numbers of dice is 11 with the notation B, which means B is equals 5, 6, and 6, 5. So the n of B equals 2. The next n of S equals 6 squared equals 36. Since none of the members of A are the same as the members of B, then the events A and B are two independent events. So we ask the formula probability of A union B equals probably the sum probability of A added by probability of B. Probability of A union B equals 5 over 36 added by 2 over 36. So the probability of A union B is 7 over 36. So the probability of getting the sum of the dice is 6 or 11 is 7 over 36. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mia Aja, for the great presentation. Next the presenter is Sakina Alifa. Sakina Alifa, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. The next material is multiplication rules. Next. Multiplication rules. In principle, the rules of multiplication are almost the same as for addition. What makes the difference is the case example. Next. The first one is independent events. Two events, A and B, are said to be independent if the occurrence of events A doesn't affect events B. The formula is probability of A intersection B equals probability of A times by probability of B. The second one is when two events are dependent. If there are two events, namely event A and event B, the event is said to be a conditional event if event A affects the occurrence of event B. The formula is probability of A intersection B equals probability of A times by probability of B given A. The example, Andy rolls two dice. What is the probability that a prime even number appears on the first dice and an odd number on the second dice? The solution is let A is the event that a prime even dice appears on the first dice. A equals 2, then probability of A equals probability of A is 1/6. And let B is the event that an odd number appears on the second dice. B is 1, 3, and 5. Then probability of B is 3/6. Event A doesn't affect event B, so the formula used is P of A intersection B equals P of A times by P of B. Then substitution P of A and P of B, 1/6 times by 3/6 equals 3/36. And simplified to 1/12. So the probability of getting a prime even number on the first dice and the odd number on the second dice is 1/12. The next material is complement. Complement is probability of one event, the opposite of an existing event. Where an event A is the set of all events that are not A. Complement of an event can be written as A with a question mark. And the formula is P. And the formula is P of A complement equals P of A subtracted from 1. Next. The example is if a six-sided dice is rolled, what is the probability of didn't get dice side 4 is? The solution is there are six sides of sides. There are six sides of a dice with the side of the dice number 4 totaling 1. So n of s is 6 and n of k is 1. Probability of dice minus n of k over n of s minus 1/6. So the probability of the complement of the events it is uh, P of dice complement equals of P of dice subtracted from 1. Then uh, 1 1 over 6 subtracted from 1, and the result is 5 over 6. So the probability of not getting the dice side 4 is 5 over 6. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you Sakina Alifa Maulani. Now we are at the permutation material which will be presented by I am Muhammad Askar. Okay, next page, please. Okay, first the permutation is refer arrangement of objects where the order is matter. So it's noted the order is matter. With we can write the formula is NPR is equal with n factorial is divided by r subtracted by n factorial. So we can see the example is how many ways can we arrange 3 out of 5 people. So the solution is we need to find the n and the r. With we find the apa well apa sorry n is the wall data, the wall of people. We and the 3 r is uh uh the condition we need from the 5 people, so we can write is 5p3 with 5 is equal 5 factorial is divided by 3 subtracted by 5. So and the sum is factorial. So the equal is we find the equal is six, 60 ways. 60 ways. Okay, can next page. Okay, the next page is combination. Okay, the combination is refer the selection objects where the order is does not matter. The different from the permutation is the order. If permutation the order is matter, in combination the order is not matter. We can write the formula with NCR, which mean equal n factorial divided by R. R the R subtracted by n, and the difference is factorial, and multiply by R factorial. We can see the example. How many ways can we choose 3 students from 5? Okay, we noted the order is not matter. So the wall data is 5, and the condition is 3. Okay, so 5C3 equal 5 factorial divided by 3 factorial. No, no, no. The 3 subtracted by 5, and the difference is factorial multiplied by 3 factorial. So we find the equals is 10 ways. Okay, that's page. Okay, we are now in the last section, which is quiz. First of all, Miss Mimi, there's feedbacks for our group, or give it
Yeah.
after the quiz, Miss.
Okay. Maybe first I will give some comments, yeah, about the presentation. Thank you, Group 12, uh, for your presentation about probability. Can you show the first or third slide maybe ya about the definition of probability. Okay. Probability is how likely something will happen. The probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1 ya. Nah, the formula is PA is equal to NA is divided by NS. Ya. This formula can you state as a definition of probability? Um, so probability is the wait maybe you can write the probability of an event is the number of possible outcomes for event is divided by possible outcomes for uh, space. Bisa dipahami, maksud saya definisinya itu dinyatakan secara formal. Ya, jadi peluang suatu kejadian adalah apa tadi namanya? The number of favorable outcomes is divided the total number of outcomes or space begitu ya. Jadi kalau ini kan definisi ya secara mudahnya sederhananya seperti ini ya. How likely something will happen gitu ya. Nah, tapi perlu juga di state the formal definition of probability of an event gitu ya. Nah, kemudian the probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1. How about 0 and 1 itself? Apakah tidak mungkin peluang itu bernilai 0 dan bernilai 1? Ada nggak ini apa namanya? Tadi sepertinya belum ada ya penjelasan tentang nilai peluang itu 0, eh, apa namanya jika kondisinya seperti apa, kemudian peluang nilainya 1 itu seperti apa, udah muncul belum? Belum ya. Nah, kalau hati-hati dalam menggunakan kata between. Ya mungkin kalau dalam bahasa sehari-hari ya kita katakan peluang kejadian itu antara 0 sampai dengan 1 itu masih aman-aman aja gitu ya. Tapi kalau dalam matematika between atau di antara itu berarti batas bawah dan batas atasnya nggak ikut gitu ya. Jadi kalau misalnya saya katakan bilangan asli di antara 1 dan 10 itu isinya adalah 2, 3, 4, sampai 9. Gitu ya. Nah, jadi hati-hati dalam penggunaan kata between. Tuh, jadi nanti coba dicari istilahnya bagaimana gitu ya, yang merujuk pada nilai peluang itu dari 0 sampai dengan 1 gitu. Tuh ya. Jadi mungkin bisa pakai apa namanya lambang ya yang kurang dari sama dengan begitu ya. Eh, atau di ditegaskan lagi gitu ya bahwa probability of any event A misalnya gitu ya is bounded by 0 and 1. Ya, artinya kalau bounded by itu artinya 0 termasuk juga, 1 termasuk juga ya. Bounded by 0 artinya di bawahnya itu 0 berarti 0 termasuk, and 1 ya bounded by 1 itu berarti batas atasnya 1, 1 juga termasuk. Itu ya. Oke. Nanti tolong diperbaiki tentang definisinya. Kemudian tadi yang perlu digarisbawahi juga berkaitan dengan permutation and combination. Ya, tadi juga sudah dijelaskan apa itu uh, permutation, ya sudah ada. Permutation is the arrangement of objects where order matters. Jadi ordernya itu diperhatikan begitu ya. Sedangkan combination itu apa namanya, ordernya doesn't matter gitu ya. Nah, ini perhatian ya buat eh, semuanya ya, kelompok 12 dan kelompok yang lainnya, semua anggota kelompok ya, untuk memahami ya perbedaan antara permutation and combination gitu. Apa berikut juga contohnya gitu, gitu ya. Apa sih yang membedakan antara permutation sama combination gitu? Karena ini sering ya, yang sering, sangat sering ya kejadian dalam kehidupan sehari-hari ya, peluang gitu ya. Aplikasinya itu sering banget kan pakai konsep permutasi dan kombinasi gitu ya. Nah, itu kadang-kadang masih agak bingung siswa gitu ya, berkaitan dengan apa sih bedanya, kasus apa yang pakai permutasi, kasus apa yang pakai kombinasi. Itu terlepas dari rumus-rumusnya. Itu ya. Oke, mungkin hanya itu ya catatan dari saya untuk kelompok 12. Thank you, group 12. You can continue with the quiz.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Mimi, for the great feedback for us. Okay, we are now at the quiz session. Okay, the first is there are in a box 10 identical cards, numbered 1 to 10. If a card is drawn, what is the what is the probability that it is an odd numbered card and a prime numbered card? We can give like 5 minutes for this question. If there want to answer this question, can raise hand. Okay, Muhammad Zikri, can you give us the answer?
Okay, thank you, moderator, for opportunities to answer this question. Question 1 is there are in a box 10 identical cards, number 1 to 10. If a card is drawn, what is the probability that it is an odd number card and a prime number card? We know odd number card from 1 to 10. We have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So if we have use definition probability, P probability of even this number 1 to 10, we have 5 over 10.
Zikri,
And then,
Zikri,
yeah.
can you share your answer in screen?
Oh, okay. Wait, I'll take the picture.
Okay, take your time.
Can you see my screen?
Okay, Zikri.
Okay. This is the probability from odd number. We have odd number from 1 to 10 number is 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So if we use the probability formula, we have the 5 over 10 is equal 1 over 2. And then if we find the prime number 1 to 10 is 2, 3, 5, and 7. So if we use the probability formula, we have 4 over 10 is equal to over 5. And from these two quick equation, we can multiply 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 over 5. And then the question is 1 over 5. The answer is correct.
Yes, a little bit wrong in the last, but we can fix. Okay, thank you, Zikri.
Okay, thank you, moderator.
Yeah. Dan aja, share screen. After the question. Nah, okay, that's very good for Musically. Okay, for us, wait a minute. Yeah, we are find the odd number card. Okay, that's the odd number is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, which is the number of A is 5. So we find the probability prob- uh, probability of A is 5 over 10. So next we are find the prime number cut, which is the prime number is 2, 3, 5, and 7. So the number of B is 4. So the probability of B is 4 over 10. Okay, which is the okay, that's the probability of the odd number and the prime number. But before we find the union, we find the intersection first. Okay, the intersection of probability of the number of intersection is there 3, 5, and 7. 3, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. Okay. So the number of A intersection B is 3. So the probability of A intersection B is the number A intersection B over the number of the all number. Okay. So the all number is 10. So we find the probability A intersection B is 3 over 10. So now we can find the probability of A union B, which is equal probability of A intersection B subtracted by the sum of probability of A added to by probability of B. So we can get the 3 over 10 subtracted by the sum of 5 over 10 added to 4 over 10, which is the answer is 3 over 5. Okay, the next bits. Okay, the next question is there is a box containing 5 yellow balls and 4 blue balls. If 2 balls are drawn one by one and without replacement, noted please guess without replacement. What is the probability that the ball drawn is a yellow ball on the first draw and blue ball on the second draw? Okay, we give 7 minutes to answer this question. If there anyone want to answer it, can be raise hand. Please note it without replacement. Thank you. Okay, Nandita, you want answer now?
Wait, Ras. 1
Oh,
minute.
okay. Take your time.
Oke, ini langsung share screen aja, Ras.
Yeah, you can search now.
Okay, so the second question is in this screen is my answer. So the first question is Wait, there is a box containing 5 yellow balls and 4 blue balls. If 2 balls are drawn one by one and without replacement, what is the probability that the ball drawn is a yellow ball on the first draw and a blue ball on the second draw? So the first draw, the yellow ball, so we can PA is 5/9. And the second draw, because the yellow has been taken, so the balls are 8. And then the P and the probability of B given A is 4/8. And then the P of A intersection B equals P of A times P of B given A. So the answer is 5/18. Is that correct?
Okay, Danita, so good, very good.
Okay. Thank you, Raska.
Oh, no problem. Dan aja, certain. Okay, so the answer from Nandita is correct. The 5/18. But we recall it, okay? On the first draw, there are 5 yellow balls out of 9 available balls. So which means the probability of A is 5/9. And in the second draw, the and sorry, and in the second row, there are 4 blue balls from the remaining 8 balls. Why? Because we take the 1 balls before. So the remaining is 8 balls. So which means the probability of B is 4/8. Okay, so we know find the intersect. So the probability A intersection B equals with probability of A multiplied by probability A given B, which means probability A intersection B is equal 5/9 multiplied by 4/8 equal with 5/18. So the final answer is 5/18. Okay, thank you. Can spets this. Okay, so this is the last question. A committee, uh, a committee needs to select a president, a vice president, and 3 members from a group of 8 candidates. Which the president as vice president position are assigned by order, and the 3 members are selected without order. So, how many possible ways can the committee be formed? We can give it for 7 minutes to answer. If there anyone to answer it, can raise hand. Thank you. Please note that guys, the first is assigned by order and the second is without order. That's the goal. Thank you. Okay, it's time, guys. There's anyone to answer? Okay, if there's nobody want to answer,
Raska,
huh? Oh, Zikri
uh,
can. Okay, okay. No
can I
problem.
answer this question?
Yeah, because there's nobody want to answer, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Aja can drop the screen.
Eh, can you see my screen?
So,
Okay,
yes.
wait. Okay, the question number 3 is a committee needs to select a president, a vice president, and 3 members from a group of 8 candidates. We have the president and
Condition,
vice president.
condition.
The condition. Two condition. First condition is the president and vice president position are assigned by order, and the condition 2 is the 3 members are selected without order. How many possible ways can the committee be formed? Okay, from the question we know we have 8 candidates. First president, first one president, one vice president, and 3 members. We need to choose 5 members. And then the probability is for the president we have 8 probability, and vice president we have 7 probability from the 8 candidate. Yes, and then the 3 member we choose without the order. So if we the like this 8 multiplied by 7 and then multiplied by 6 C3. 8 multiplied 7 is equal 656, and then 6C3 is equal 6 factorial over 3 factorial multiplied by 3 subtracted by 6 factorial, and then if we wait a minute. If we count this equation, we have 100 1120. I don't know how to say it. Lupa lah.
One, 100,
One,
1020.
1120. Okay, that's it. Is the answer is correct?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you, Zikri.
Okay, thank you,
Great,
Raska.
great answer. Okay, can you drop this question? Aja can saya can. Okay, for the solution of this question, from Zikri, use the request. We draw the square. So, but we now use the formula of permutation. So the whole number is 8, and we need to find the president as 5 president, which is we need the two person. So we find for the formula 8 factorial divided by 2 subtracted by 8, and the difference is factorial. So we find the equation is 56. And we need to find the okay, we need to find the second condition. We find the three members. So the well for members is six because the two of them is has been selected to be a president and vice president. So the last is will be just six members, and we need to find three members. So the notation is can what six c three, which is this is 6 factorial divided by 3 subtracted by 6, and the difference is factorial, and multiplied by 3 factorial. So the equation is 20, and we find the wall total waste. To find it, we use formula multiplied by. Why? Because the condition is we need to fulfill it, the two of the two of both condition. If we just need to fulfill it just one condition, so which mean is okay, or if there's or, so the formula is added added. But because we need to fulfill fulfill the two of condition, so which mean is and a and d, and so the formula is multiplied by. So from the condition 1 is multiplied by the condition 2, which mean equation is 100 sorry 1120. So that's the answer from the question 3. Okay, next page. The next page. Okay. Okay, that's all from us. Group to thank you all that answer the question, and thank you Miss Mimi that give us the great feedback. Thank you all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Group 12, ya, Pasca, Sakinah, and Umnia for your presentation. And now let's continue with the last group, Group 13. Will present about statistics. Okay, please, Group 13, time is yours.
Oke, izin share screen ya.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to attend our presentation today. We are from Group 13, and we feel honored to be able to share what we learned. Let me first introduce the member of our group. Next slide. Okay, I'm George Bryan, and I will be your moderator for today. There's Fitra Nurhandayani and Yehad Kiel. Next slide. Yeah, each of us has prepared a part of today's topic, which is statistic and important tools to collect, analyze, and interpret data. Our presentation will be divided into three main subtopics. First, introduction and representation of data. Second, measure of central tendency. And third, measure of dispersion. We hope to explain each section clearly with examples that make it easier to understand. And after the presentation, we'll have a short discussion and feedback session, followed by a quiz to help review the material. So, let's get started with the first part. Please, next slide. To Yeskiel, please begin.
Okay, we start in introduction and representation of data. In this lesson, we will learn the basic of statistics, how data is collected, and how it is represented using various methods like charts, and tables. Statistics is the science of collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting data. It helps us make sense of the world by understanding difference. There are two main types of statistics. The first is descriptive statistics. This focuses on summarizing, on organizing data using numbers and visuals like tables and graphs. And the second is inferential statistics. This helps us make prediction or decision about a population based on a sample of data. Okay, next, difference between data and statistic. Data refers to the raw information we collect, like scores or measurement. And statistic is what we get when we organize, analyze, and interpret that data. Okay, population and sample. Population is the complete group we are studying. It includes all individuals or items of interest. For example, all students in a class. But sample is a smaller group select from the population to represent it. For example, the top 5 students in the class. Okay, there are for my material. I will return to the moderator. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yeskiel, for the clear explanation so far. Now, next slide. Yeah, Fitra will continue from here. The Fitra, please.
Yeah, thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. Here, I will explain about example for descriptive statistic and inferential statistic. This is the result from math test in the class. There are 7, 7, 8, 9, etc. If the student reach the minimum score at 7, it will be passed from the test. Look at the table. We have two columns where the first column show the score and the second column show the frequency. This means 5 students score 5, 3 students score 6, etc. This example is called descriptive statistic because it describes the data. We organize the scores into a table. We do not make conclusions yet. We just show the data clearly. Okay, move to the right side. If we use inferential statistic, we get the result like this. 60% of the students passed the test, 40% of the students failed the test, only one student got a perfect score. This example is called inferential statistic because we use the data to make a conclusion. We don't just show the scores, we decide who passed, who failed, and calculate the percentages. Then we say something about the whole class. Next slide, please. Okay, the next topic about types of data presentation. The first one is table. Table divides into two. The first one is ungrouped data and the last one is group data. For ungrouped data shows individual data values. It's good for small data. For example, about result of math test in the class. Look at the table. Look at the table. Yeah. We have two columns where the first column shows the score and the second column shows the frequency. This means 5 students score 5, 3 students score 6, 3 students score 7, etc. And for the group data organize data into class intervals. This is useful for large data. For example, about height of student in Riri's class. Look at the table. We have two columns where the first column shows the height range and the second column shows the frequency. This means 5 students have a height 151 to 155. 8 students have a height 156 to 160, etc. Next slide, please. Okay, the next topic about diagrams. The first one is bar chart. A bar chart uses vertical bars to show data. Each bar is a category and the height shows how many people use it. For example, about favorite pet of residents in a municipality. Okay, look at the bar chart. On the x-axis, represent the type of animal. X-axis represent the type of animal like bird, cat, dog, and fish. On the y-axis, represent the number of people. The number of people like how many people choose it. Okay, look at the bar. Look at the first bar. It shows that 10 people choose bird, and the next bar shows that 20 people choose cat, etc. From this bar chart, we can see that fish is the most popular because it has the tallest bar, and bird is the less popular because it has the shortest bar. Next slide, please. Okay, and the next one is pie chart. A pie chart is a circular chart divided into slices. Each slice shows the proportion of a category from the total. For example, we use the same data as the bar chart to make a pie chart. To make a pie chart, we change the data into percentages or degrees. If we use percentages, we apply this formula like frequency divided by total frequency, then quotient is multiplied by 100. For example, look at this pie chart. The blue slice shows that 10 of 85 people choose bird, so it's 12%. The yellow slice for fish is 30 of 85, so it's 35%. From this pie chart, we can see that fish is the most popular because it has the largest slice, and a bird is the less popular because it has the smallest slice. Next slide, please. Okay, the next one is a line chart. A line chart shows change over time or patterns. Using points connected by lines is useful to show trends. For example, about Rina's mathematics score per semester. On the x-axis, represent the semester from semester 1 to semester 5. On the y-axis, represent the score. Okay. Look at the first dot. The first dot shows that Rina math score in semester 1 is 70. And the line goes up because Rina math score in semester 2 is 80. And the line goes down because Rina math score in semester 3 is 75, etc. From this line card, we can see the highest score was 85 in fourth semester and the lowest was 70 in first semester. Next slide, please. Okay, the last one is histogram. A histogram is a type of graph that uses adjacent bars to show the distribution of numerical data grouped into intervals. For example, about height of student in the class. Look at the histogram. On the x-axis, represent the height range. On the y-axis, represent the frequency. Look at the first bar. It shows that 5 students have a height between 151 and 155. The next bar shows that 18 students have a height 156 to 160, etc. From this histogram, we can see that the tallest bar is for the height range 156 to 160. That group has the most people. The shortest bar is for the height range 151 to 155, which has only 5 people. Okay, that's all material from me. I return to the moderator. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Fitra, for making the representation of data easy to follow. Up next, I will talk about measure of central tendency. Please, next slide. Yeah, measure of central tendency. Next slide again. First, we are talking about the mean or the average. The mean gives us a single value that represents a whole set of numbers, kind of like the center or balance point of data. The formula is written as x bar equals the summation from e equals 1 to n of x sub e divided by n. Basically, we add up all the numbers that x sub 1 plus x sub 2 plus etc. to the x plus x sub n, and then divide it by n, the total numbers of value. We usually use the mean when all the data is measured in the same unit, and we want a general sense of the overall sense. Next slide. Yeah, we have an example. To help us understand the mean. So the question is, Brian got 85 in math, 75 in English, and 19 in science. To find his average score, we just add all the score and divide it by 3 since there are 3 subjects. The formula becomes x bar equal 85 plus 75 plus 19 over 3 equal 250 over 3, approximately 83.33. So Brian average score is about 83.33. Please next slide. Yeah. Now we talk about two other types of strength of value, the median and the mode. The median is the middle number of a short list. In the example shown, the numbers are 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 23, and 26. Since 15 is in the center, it's the median. So we can say the median is the middle value in a short list of the number. Now for the mode, it's the number that appears more often. On the number line below, we can see that 6 appears the most. It has the most check mark, so 6 is the mode. We can say the mode is the value that show up the most in the dataset. These two are useful when we want to describe the center of the data, especially if the data has outlier or represent values. Please next slide. Yeah, for more detail, let's start with the median. First, we always need to arrange the value from the least to the greatest, from left to right. Yeah, if the number of value is odd, like in set 1, the median is simply the number in the middle. Yeah, but if the number of value is even, like in set 2, then there are two middle numbers. In this case, we find the median by adding the two middle number and dividing by 2. Now on the right side, we see how to find the mode. The mode depends on how frequently a value appears in the dataset. In set 1, the green value appears twice, more than any other, so green is the mode. But in set 2, two values appear twice, yellow and green. That means there are two modes and the data is binomial. Also, just as a reminder, a dataset might have one mode, more than one mode, or even no mode at all, depending on the value. Okay, please next slide. That's all from me for this section. Let us continue with Kiel and Vitra again, who will explain the next part. To Kiel, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. There are three types of measures of dispersion. The first is range. Range shows how spread out the values in a dataset are. The second is variance. Variance is a measure of how spread out the data values are from the mean. It tells us the average of the square difference from the mean. The last is standard deviation. Standard deviation is the square root of the variance. It tells us how far values typically are from the mean. Okay, how to find the range? To find the range, we subtract from minimum value from maximum value. Okay, next, variance. To calculate variance, there are several steps. The first is find the mean of the dataset, and then subtract the mean from each data point. And then square the results of each subtraction, and then add up all the squared result. And the last, divide the total by the number of data points. Okay, the last is standard deviation. To calculate the standard deviation, we just square root of the variance. Okay. No. Okay, next example question. The question is calculate the range population variance and population standard deviation of the heights of Mr. Budi's family. Okay, the first step to answer the question is we find the range. To find the range, we must know maximum value and minimum value. After we look at it, we get the minimum value is 160 and the maximum value is 180. So we just subtract minimum value from maximum value, or 160 from 180, and the result is 20. That's all for me. I will give back to the moderator. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kiel. Okay, let's keep going. Vitra, you may take over. Please next slide.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. To find the variance, first find the mean. To find the mean, we add all the data values like 160 plus 165 plus 170 plus 175 plus 180, and the result is 850. Yes. Then divided by 5 because there are 5 numbers, so the mean is 170. Okay, let's do the to find the variance, we use the variance formula. The first is subtract the mean from each data point, then square the result, and add all the result, then divided by the total number of data points, and the result is the variance. For example, if 170 subtracted from 160 equals -10, then -10 squared is 100. do the same for the others. Then the sum is divided by 5. So the variance is 50. Okay, please next slide. Yeah, to find the standard deviation, take the square root of the variance. If the variance is 50, so the standard deviation is square root of 50, which is 5 root 5. So the standard deviation is 5 root 5. That's all from me. I return to the moderator. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fitra and Kiel. For the explanation, please next slide. Yeah, now we'd like to open a short discussion session. If anyone has question, comment, or even suggestion of question, we will really appreciate it. Feel free to raise your hand and speak up. Thank you. To Miss Mimi, if has question, comment, or even suggestion or correction, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you, group 13, the last group, about your comprehensive presentation about statistics. Okay, I think all of materials about statistics already present by group 13 ya, about representation of data, central tendency, and also dispersion. Okay, maybe you can go to the 5th slide. Yeah, it's the important things about statistics. Types of statistics. There are descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Inferential statistic, we use inferential statistics usually on the research, the quantitative research. We use inferential statistics, so we can conclude or make generalizations about something. With we work with the samples, but the conclusion will be used in a population. Ya, jadi itu tentang statistika deskriptif dan inferensial itu berbeda gitu ya, kebutuhan atau penggunaannya ya. Kalau di statistika inferensial itu yang sangat penting adalah ada sampling gitu ya, ada sampling. Jadi kita bekerja pada sampel, pengumpulan datanya dilakukan pada sampel begitu ya, kemudian hasilnya dianalisis dan bisa diterapkan gitu ya, atau hasilnya itu bisa dikenakan ke populasi gitu ya. Jadi untuk mengetahui satu hal tentang populasi ya, kita tidak perlu melakukan penelitian atau survei ke seluruh anggota populasi ya. Nah, di situ guna dari inferential statistics ya. Berbeda dengan descriptive statistics. Jadi in descriptive statistics we organize, display, or present and describe data using tables, charts, graphs and we do some measurements, simple measurements, to show the central tendency and maybe dispersion gitu ya. Tapi tidak sampai ke statistik test, yang nggak sampai pada uji statistik ya dengan analisis tertentu gitu ya. Tapi kalau di inferential statistics kita perlu melakukan statistical test gitu ya, uji t-test, ANOVA gitu ya, dan ANCOVA dan lain-lain ya, yang mungkin kalian beberapa sudah pelajari gitu ya. Tapi di descriptive statistics kita hanya ketika pun ada perhitungan, itu perhitungan-perhitungan yang sederhana gitu ya. Nah di BIM 1 ini ya tentu kita tidak akan melebar fokusnya ke inferential statistics ya, karena itu cukup rumit gitu ya. Jadi cukup di descriptive statistics ya, seperti yang tadi sudah dijelaskan oleh kelompok 13 ya. Bagaimana data itu disajikan ya, kemudian menampilkan ukuran pemusatan datanya ya, central tendency-nya, kemudian ada ukuran penyebarannya ya, ada dispersion-nya gitu. Jadi hal-hal yang sederhana dan juga berkaitan dengan bagaimana data itu disajikan ya. Jadi kita harus mampu membaca, membuat, kemudian juga membaca tabel, diagram gitu ya, atau graphs gitu, atau grafik. Oke, next. Oke, ini ada perbedaan antara data dan statistika gitu ya. Nah, ini ada juga istilah statistik. Coba bisa dijelaskan kembali statistik yang pakai S ini ya dengan statistik yang tanpa S sama atau bagaimana?
Izin jawab Ibu. Misalnya kalau ada penambahan S itu berarti kayak lebih dari satu ya. Berarti untuk statistik ini datanya itu lebih dari satu, atau kayak something itu lebih dari satu, atau bisa dibilang plural ya istilahnya. Terus kalau yang subjek yang tanpa S itu berarti statistiknya itu cuma satu objek saja Ibu.
Oke, baik ya. Nah, di bahasa Indonesia kita kenal istilah statistik dan statistika. Ya, itu sangat berbeda sekali ya. Kalau statistika tadi ilmunya, ya, statistika itu adalah ilmu untuk apa tadi, ilmu berkaitan dengan penyajian data, pengolahan data, pengumpulan data, interpretasi data ya. Itu statistika. Nah, sedangkan statistik itu apa namanya? eh, kumpulan data gitu ya. Kumpulan data berupa eh, apa namanya? Angka gitu ya, atau apapun datanya gitu ya. eh, yang bisa diolah gitu ya, kemudian bisa disajikan gitu ya. Jadi eh, kalau apa namanya sebentar. Hmm, statistik itu datanya ya, berkaitan dengan datanya. Sedangkan statistika itu ilmunya. Nah, tapi kalau di bahasa Inggris ya, statistik itu apa namanya? Kan statistik ya pakai C gitu ya. Nah, kemudian statistika statistika itu kan berarti statistics ya, pakai pakai CS, ya enggak? Nah, jadi ketika menambahkan S pada kata-kata statistik ini, nah itu bisa apa namanya ya, eh, ambigu gitu. Tapi kita bisa lihat dari konteks. Karena memang kalau di bahasa Inggris, kalau dia lebih dari satu plural, berarti kan harus pakai S, gitu ya. Sedangkan statistics itu artinya adalah statistika, ilmu yang mempelajari tentang data, ya. Sedangkan statistik adalah datanya, gitu. Jadi kalau eh, di bahasa Indonesia kita nggak sulit untuk membedakan itu ya. Kalau kita bicara tentang datanya, itu kita bilang statistik ya. Jadi apa sih sebenarnya kalian udah belajar statdas kan ya? Jadi kalau di statistika itu ada konsep statistik, ada konsep parameter ya. Kalau misalnya statistik itu adalah ukuran numerik ya, data-data, angka-angka yang menggambarkan karakteristik dari sampel. Misalnya ada rata-rata ya, ada rata-rata itu kan pakainya X bar ya. Kalian pernah lihat lambang rata-rata itu pakai X bar? Pernah lihat juga lambang rata-rata itu pakai mu ya? Apa bedanya? Kalau X bar itu termasuk statistik. Kalau mu itu bukan statistik, dia parameter ya. Jadi ukuran numerik yang eh, terdapat pada sampel itulah statistik. Sedangkan ukuran numerik yang terdapat pada populasi itu adalah apa namanya, eh, parameter namanya. Gitu ya. Nah ini kaitannya dengan inferential statistics ya. Jadi statistika inferensial. Jadi kita mencari rata-rata dari sampel. Kita punya misalnya punya populasi isinya 100. Dari 100 itu kita ambil 10 aja. Sampelnya 10 kan, populasinya 100 misalnya. Nah, dari 10 yang data kita ambil itu kita cari rata-ratanya, kita cari nilai tengahnya, kita cari modusnya gitu ya. Kemudian kita cari apanya lagi? Simpangan bakunya gitu ya. Nah, itu berarti X bar S simpangan baku ya. X bar kan rata-ratanya, simpangan baku itu S-nya itu dinamakan statistik tanpa A ya, statistik aja. Nah, itu adalah ukuran-ukuran yang diperoleh dari sampel. Sedangkan mu kemudian apa sigma ya, kalau varians itu kan sigma ya. Mu sigma itu adalah rata-rata yang dari 100 tadi. Nah, itulah parameter itu. Nah, di sini kalau di bahasa Inggris karena statistik itu berarti tanpa S ya. Nah, maka ketika itu apa namanya merujuk pada yang plural, ya pro apa sih namanya, plural gitu ya, itu maka pakai S itu nanti akan terbenturkan dengan konsep statistika. Nah, maka dilihat konteksnya gitu ya, kira-kira dia lagi ngomongin apa, lagi ngomongin statistics as science gitu ya sebagai ilmu, atau statistics sebagai ukuran numerik dari sampel ya, seperti itu ya. Ini perhatian buat semuanya ya. Oke, next. Kalau yang lain nggak ada masalah ya. Kayak ini ada populasi, ada sampel tadi ya. Oke, ini perlu tahu juga apa istilahnya, kemudian apa contohnya seperti apa. Oke, lanjut. Oke, ini ya tadi ada beberapa contoh. Nggak ada masalah saya pikir untuk yang berikutnya ya. Tadi termasuk juga perhitungan apa mean, median, and mode-nya. Itu sudah paham ya mudah-mudahan ya. Oke, mungkin kalau kalau about dispersion itu cukup dipahami aja ya, apa lambang-lambangnya gitu ya, karena nggak mungkin nanti UAS BIM itu kalian disuruh menghitung secara manual apa namanya varians gitu ya, karena cukup apa kompleks ya perhitungannya gitu ya. Nah, paling yang median, mean, modus, kalaupun ada perhitungan ya sekitar dengan itu ya, mean, median, and mode itu masih relatif mudah ya untuk dicari ya secara manual begitu. Oke, I think that's all comments for group 13. Thank you. Please continue to the next session ya, quiz.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Mimi, for the comment and feedback. That will help us understand this topic better and improve our preparation in the future. Now, next slide. Now, before we end the session, we have prepared a short multiple choice question. The question and option are already shown on the screen, so I won't read each one out loud to save time. So please, next slide. Yeah, for the first question, please take a moment to read the question and choose your answer. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Then if you already got the answer, please raise hand and speak up. Okay, in my screen, the Mediani Anggita Zaman. Please speak up your answer.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Jostra. I think for the answer in this question is a line chart because in the slide PPT, line chart is show change, and this table shows change number of TV sold. And the answer is yang line chart.
Okay, sorry. So the answer is, please next slide. Yeah, that's right. The answer is B, line chart. Line chart are the best choice when we want to represent the data that change over time, such as month of sale. They clearly show trends whether these numbers are increasing, decreasing, or staying the same. Nice job, Mediani. Now, next slide. Okay, for the second question, please take a moment to read the question and choose your answer. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Then if you already got the answer, please raise hand and speak up. If my screen there in the outer T, please pick your answer.
Thank you, Joshua. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I can see. I can hear it clearly.
And the answer of the question is A. It give it give equal importance to fast and slow text because uh, we because the in this data we have mean uh 16.67 minutes from means of text A, B, and C.
Okay, thank you, Indy, for your answer. So let's take it up for the correct answer. Next slide. Ching, ching, ching. Yeah, that's right. The answer is A. Why? The mean or average treat every value equally, no matter how short or long the text is. So even if one text took 5 minutes and another 30 minutes, the mean just average them without giving extra weight to any. Uh, that's good one, indeed. Okay, thank you. Please next slide. Um, sorry, please next slide. Yeah, thank you. Okay, for the third question, please take a moment to read the question again and choose your answer. I'll give you about 2 minutes, then if you already get the answer, please raise hand and speak up. Thank you. Yeah, if my screen there's Nandita, please pick your answer.
Okay, thank you, Joshua, for the opportunity. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I can hear it clearly.
Okay, the third question is based on the data above, choose the correct combination of A is median, B is mode, and C total frequency of the mode values. So the first is median. There are 12 numbers, so we can take the middle of 12. So the 6 and the 7 values. So the median is 9 plus 10 is divided by 2 equals 9.5. So the median is 9.5 and the mode is 8 and 10 because 8 and 10 is also appears 2 times. So the C total frequency of the mode values is 2 plus 2 is equals 4. So the answer is B.
Okay, thank you, Nandita, for your answer. So the correct answer, please check it out. Let's show. Yeah, nice. The correct answer is B. Let me break it down quickly. Median. Since there are 12 number even, we take the average of the 6 number and 7 number. That's 9 and 10, so the median is 9.5. Mode. The most frequency number are 8 and 10, each appearing twice. Then, total frequency of mode is 2 plus 2 equals 4. Great job, Nandita. That's the correct answer. For the fourth question, please next slide. Yeah. Same as before, please take a moment to read the question for and choose your answer. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Then if you already got the answer, please raise hand and speak up. Yeah, imagine there's Mela Selviana. Please give your answer.
Okay, thank you, Jostra, for the opportunities. The question is calculate and explain how to find the range of the h in centimeter of these 40 basketball players' data. For the maximum value is 217 and the minimum value is 118. So the range is 217 minus 118. So the answer is 37 centimeter.
Okay, thank you, Mela, for your answer. So, the correct answer, let's check it out. Okay, so, yeah, that's right. Nice work. Next, let's see how to calculate the range. So the answer is 39 cm. Okay, thank you, Mela, for the answer. Please next slide. Yeah, that's all for today. That brings us to the end of our presentation today. We truly appreciate your time, attention, and presentation, especially during the quiz and discussion. We hope that what we share today about statistics from representing data to central tendency and measure of dispersion has been useful or at least help refresh what we already know. We also want to say thank you for the feedback from Miss Mimi. It really helped us grow and improve both in understanding the material and in presenting it clearly. Last but not least, thank you once again to everyone here. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you and have a good day.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Group 13. Thank you, Jostra, Fitra, and Yeheskil ya. Oke, it's a complete for our material from group 1 until group 13 ya. And next week you will do test for bahasa Inggris matematika 1 ya. If I'm not mistaken on Wednesday ya. On Wednesday you will do tes bahasa Inggris matematika 1 final test. Oke. Maybe there is some question about our course of our final test. Maybe the materials from group UTS itu kita belajar apa ya? Setelah UTS saya agak lupa bentar. Oh ini ya, geometri ya. Kalau nggak salah geometri ya, ada plane geometry, space geometry, matrix, vector, analisis ya. And the last today probability and statistics ya. Jadi pelajari konsep-konsep yang berkaitan dengan materi-materi tersebut ya. Dari apa yang sudah disusun oleh teman-teman, mungkin masing-masing kelompok itu slide-nya sangat banyak ya. Bahkan ada yang lebih dari 50 slide, mungkin nanti ya apa namanya dibaca, tentu dibaca semua gitu ya. Namun diperdalam untuk apa namanya konsep-konsep yang memang esensial begitu ya. Jadi kalau terkait prosedural yang rumit ya itu insya Allah nggak akan dikeluarkan ya sebagai bahan ujian gitu ya. Kayak gitu. Tapi kalau untuk konsep-konsep dasar semua harus tahu ya, mulai tadi dari plane geometry, space geometry sampai hari ini probability and statistics itu basic konsepnya itu harus dipahami kan. Apa namanya, kita paham konsep paling enggak kalau kita tahu pengertiannya dan kita bisa menunjukkan contoh dan non contohnya gitu ya. Jadi itu salah satu indikator dari kemampuan pemahaman konsep matematis adalah kita bisa menyatakan ulang konsepnya gitu ya, dan juga bisa eh, apa namanya ya, mendeskripsikan contoh dan bukan contohnya gitu sebagai indikator bahwa kita memang sudah paham tentang konsep tersebut. Seperti itu. Kalaupun ada mungkin ada soal-soal perhitungan tapi ya sederhana gitu ya. Sederhana gitu yang kalian tentu pasti sudah ingat ya rumus-rumusnya gitu ya. Oke. Dan oh ya, satu lagi yang terlewat fungsi ya. Di fungsi juga itu ada beberapa konsep ya, utamanya tentang jenis-jenis fungsi. Kalau kalian ingat beberapa eh, hampir setiap pertemuan saya berikan komentar atau penjelasan tambahan gitu ya. Biasanya saya ada penekanan di konsep-konsep tertentu. Nah, itu diingat-ingat kembali. Gitu ya. Mungkin itu jadi konsep-konsep yang penting untuk diperhatikan. Mungkin itu yang perlu saya sampaikan. Silakan, apakah ada tanggapan atau pertanyaan sebelum kita akhiri perkuliahan pada pagi hari ini? Baik, kalau tidak ada, kita cukupkan perkuliahan hari ini. Terima kasih kelompok 12, kelompok 13, dan seluruh peserta mata kuliah ya, yang hadir Zoom pada hari ini. Kita ketemu insya Allah pekan depan saat UAS gitu ya. Saya tapi masih kurang paham nanti siapa yang mengawas apa namanya kelas ini. Tapi insya Allah apa namanya dijaga ya sikapnya, siapapun nanti yang mengawas tolong eh, jujur gitu ya mengerjakan masing-masing gitu ya, percaya dengan kemampuan sendiri. Oh ya, sebetulnya UTS itu UTS ya, UTS BIM 1 sudah saya periksa sejak yang nggak jauh dari UTS, waktu itu ya beberapa pekan setelah UTS itu udah selesai gitu ya, tapi saya lupa terus mau bagikan gitu ya. Nanti mungkin PJ bisa mengingatkan saya untuk mungkin mengambil berkas hasil ujiannya gitu ya. Kalau nggak mau itu bikin gagal fokus misalnya gitu ya, boleh misalnya saat setelah UAS atau bagaimana baiknya nanti ya kalau mau diambil, ada sebetulnya di ruangan saya hasil ujian tengah semesternya gitu ya. Oke, itu saja. Kalau tidak ada lagi yang perlu dibahas, kita cukupkan kuliah hari ini. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Baik.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Ibu.
Ibu.
Thank you, Miss
Ya,
Dini.
sama-sama saya pamit ya.